Before you begin tutorial 4 creating complex animations in Flash, please read the paragraph at the top to explain what we're going to do, and then open Joe Draft 4 FLA as instructed from the tutorial 4 folder, and then save it as I'm showing you how I'm saving mine, which is FL4 review underscore first name last name. Just know you don't turn this in. Okay, this is just for your review. First thing we're going to do is on the fish layer at frame 1 is we're going to drag an instance out of the library onto this screen. We don't know where to put it because our rulers aren't turned on. So view and then rulers to turn your numbers on so you can tell where you're placing things. The next thing we're going to do is at frame 36 on the fish layers, we're going to place a keyframe. You could right click or choose F6, and then at frame 1 we will we'll create motion tween. At frame 35 we can drag the instance to the right of the screen, and we have the move tool selected, which is the black arrow. We can just notice the icon change. We can just drag this up, and then let's change from the black arrow to the freeform move tool. And if you go to the corners, you can get the rotate tool, and let's rotate this fish down here, and we can scrub back and rotate this up so that when we scrub we can see our fish is now moving in a path. Okay, let's go to frame 36, and we're going to move the instance from the left over to the right. I know it seems like we just did this, but that was for the first half. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to click and flip this fish to point the other direction. Then we can right click and create a motion tween, and then at frame 70 once again we'll drag this to the other side, and once again we'll get our black move tool and drag the path upward, and then with the freeform tool we can rotate the fish. Let's scrub back to frame, we're on frame 36, and we're going to rotate so we can see our fish is following its path. Next thing we're going to do is add fish 2. We need a new layer for fish 2. Let's call this FISH2, and then we'll drag an instance from the library, okay, to the right side of the screen, okay, at frame 1 of fish 2. The next thing we're going to do is place a keyframe at frame 36. So we'll go to frame 36 and then hit F6. And then at frame 1 we can just right click and create a motion tween for the first part, and then we'll go to frame 35 once again, and we'll drag the fish currently selected to the right part of the screen, and then we can drag. Notice how we can't drag, we can move, but we can't. You can take and move the whole thing up, because actually I think this is where it's supposed to be. It moved both keyframes. I'm going to select the move tool and then drag just the path. So I clicked off, and then again the freeform tool, and then at frame 1 freeform it down. Okay, so now we've got both of our fish moving in opposite directions here. Let's go to frame 36. I needed to first drag this to the other side and then flip it. Then we can create our motion tween. And then at frame 70, we can drag the fish over here and get our move tool, which is the black arrow, and let's pull this up. Okay, so let's see. So you know, we moved the whole thing before, remember that? I'm going to get the freeform tool, grab the whole thing and just drag it up, drag all of my keyframes up. Alright, I'm using the up arrow key to get it up. Okay, so there I am, not perfect, but there we've made the edit so that it works. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a mask for the Jenny's Oyster Hut, because we want it to start out to be not there, and then it will do a reveal. So select the title, because we're going to place a new layer above title, and we're going to call this layer mask. Okay, and then if you right click on the mask layer and choose properties, we can make it a mask layer. Okay, we want it to affect title, so select title, the layer, and then right click and choose properties, and let's change this to not mask but masked. It'll be affected by the mask. Okay, now what we need to do is create the mask, and how we do that is on the mask layer we're going to choose a rectangle tool with no stroke color but a fill color of your choice. I've got a nice deep red. Okay, and then I'll draw a rectangle over what I want to be hidden and then revealed. Okay, with my selection tool I can right click and convert to symbol. The other thing, you could hit an F8 key, which would convert to symbol, and we want to name this rectangle say okay. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is at frame 35 is we're going to set a keyframe for it. So F6, drag it off to the side. Okay, and then we're going to change this to motion, create motion tween, and then at frame 34 we're going to put it back over to give our full coverage. Okay, so that's how we get it to move in that order. Okay, the next thing we need to do is test the movie, and that's where we start in section 2.